It's 6:02. We're going to go ahead and get started. Welcome to What is COMET-Farm and How Do I Get Involved? My name is Kelly Flynn, and I'm going to be kicking us off tonight. I am the implementation coordinator for the Climate Smart Grown in SC grant that we are administering here out of Clemson University and also with our partners at South Carolina State University. Many of you who have logged on are participants in the project. And I'm just going to give you a little quick overview of who you're going to be speaking with tonight and also what we're going to cover. And then I'm going to hand it off to Katie, who's going to get us started. So I mentioned myself, Katie Kurz is also with us tonight. She is the measurement coordinator for our project here at Clemson. Maggie Miller is also with us. She'll be helping present this evening, and she is one of the Climate Smart Extension Associates for the Forages for Beef Cattle. And we also have Dr. Lacey Barnett, who is also an extension associate with the Climate Smart Project with the Leafy Greens program. So probably recognizing some faces here. Oh, thanks, Katie. So we have a really brief consolidated training tonight. Our goal is pretty simple for the evening. It is to give you an overview of what the COMET-Farm tool is, and then also let you know how to register with the platform. So we're not going to get into too much into how to use COMET-Farm, but one of the objectives on our project that was written into the original narrative is to try and get all of our enrolled producers set up with at least an account with COMET-Farm. And then we're going to talk tonight about how you can take that a little bit farther. If you're interested in the platform, there's all kinds of resources. So we'll look at how the website is laid out, and then also look at some of the resources that are available for you, for those of you who are interested in moving, doing a little bit more of a deeper dive. And then finally, we have plenty of time for questions and answers. And I think it's fine to say that if you have a question along the way, you can jump in, but we're going to leave time at the end for questions. Also, we will stick around on Zoom with you while you register if you'd like to do that. We can just kind of hang out for a little bit and, while you walk through the process and make sure there's no snags along the way. So with that, I'm going to hand it off to Katie, who's going to take us through the next few slides. And thanks, Katie.
Thanks, Kelly. Hey, everyone. I'm going to be going over the basics of what COMET-Farm tool is, why it exists, and how you might use it. Just an overview of that. So first, we have the what. The COMET-Farm tool is an online accounting system for greenhouse gas emissions or reductions on a farm operation. So this is just a website that you can interact with. And the greenhouse gases that it looks at is carbon dioxide, methane, and nitrous oxide, some of those main players with greenhouse gases. And this was a tool developed in partnership between Colorado State University and the USDA. And so the purpose of this tool is that it allows users to evaluate how conservation, also called climate smart practices, can reduce greenhouse gas emissions and also sequester carbon from farm operations. So that's the general gist of what this tool does. How it does this is that you as the user inputs your current land management related activity and compare business as usual or conventional practices to conservation or climate smart practices. And so it's just showing if you go from one practice to another, how does that affect greenhouse gas emissions or carbon sequestration? And This tool generates a report, and this report is based on all of the things you put into it, and it uses methods from a document called the USDA's Methods for Entity Scale Inventory. It's also called the Blue Book. This presentation is full of links. As you can see, this is a link, and we'll make this presentation available so you can have those quick links. And we'll go over some of those resources at the end, but the Blue Book is one of those things that you can look through if you're very curious. Another point with the Blue Book is that this is what our measurement team has used to determine what to be measuring. And so that kind of ties it into our project. And that this is part of what the tool looks like. This is how you like kind of flow through it. So why should you care? Why might you care? So according to the EPA, the agricultural economic sector made up 11% of greenhouse gas emissions in 2022. And that is a percentage that has gone from up 8% just in the past 30 years. And so this is a way, you can think of this as your position as a farmer as an opportunity to feel empowered to be involved in reducing greenhouse gas emissions. Zooming out, this has benefits to the environment and your community. By adopting conservation practices, you can contribute to the slowdown or even counteract the domino effect of environmental changes caused in part by conventional or business as usual agricultural activities and the associated greenhouse gas emissions of those conventional activities. The environmental changes being in part effects on temperature and precipitation, for example, hotter and drier summers. And so adopting conservation practices tries to mitigate those effects. Additionally, this is a way to serve your community. Conservation practices work to conserve and protect your natural resources, like our water and air quality, as well as preserve our soils, which we need to be healthy to feed our communities for generations to come. But if you want to zoom in further, this also benefits your land and your pocket. Not only do conservation practices aid in improving your community's quality of life, but they also work to improve your land's quality of life and minimize costs of inputs. Many conservation practices allow for reduced inputs by utilizing natural systems such as legumes, like clover, which fix nitrogen in the soil, allowing for fewer fertilizer inputs, which also means less money that you're spending on those inputs. Conservation practices also have been shown to promote soil health, including the integrity of the soil structure and ability to retain water. And when soils are healthier, they require fewer irrigation inputs, especially in the face of a hotter, drier summer, for example. This is just a snapshot of some of those benefits, but all these benefits and more are covered in those yearly trainings that Maggie or Lacey or your other extension associates hold. So feel free to reach out to them if you have more questions about that. But yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and hand it off to, I believe Maggie is bringing us through how to actually register for a COMET-Farm account.
Okay, so we kind of get to the nuts and bolts of this training. So this is what thank you, Katie. This is what the website looks like, and we go to www.comet-farm.com to find the website. And then we want to go down below the login button. There's a place where you can select register for an account. So we want to do that if you haven't already registered. And then there's a form here that we're going to fill out that it just has basic information, first and last name, email. You'll need to come up with a password that you can that you can remember so that you can use it next time. One of the nice things about this program is that it does save the information that you put in. So you can log in and log out as many times as you need to. There's some information about your company. If you want to fill that in, that's optional. And then there's a terms and conditions. So if you want to read the fine print, it's available. And there is a COMET quarterly newsletter that comes out 4 times a year, and then some updates. If you would like to receive those, you can select that so that you can stay up to date about what's happening with that. But that's also optional. And then click register account there at the bottom. As soon as you register, or soon after you register, you should get an email, confirmation email from info@cometfarm.com to confirm that you've registered. This might go to your spam or junk folder, so just make sure that you check that if you don't see it in your inbox immediately. And there's a link here for support if you have trouble finding that confirmation email. You could also reach out to one of us. Our information's on the website or at the beginning there, and I think most of you know how to reach us if you're having trouble getting that confirmation registration. Okay, this part is key. Once you get that confirmation email, please forward it to climatesmart@clemson.edu. And that just gives us an inventory of folks who have registered. This is not required, but it is a goal of ours to get every Climate Smart participant at least enrolled in the program, in the COMET-Farm with a COMET-Farm account. So we encourage you to do so and just let us know that you've done that. I do want to remind everybody that it is optional and it won't affect the payments for any year. So a little bit about the website itself, the COMET-Farm website. This is what the main homepage looks like. And the login button is right in the middle there. And there's 2 bars that you should pay attention to. One is in the top right-hand corner, and the other is right across the middle. The bar on the top right has a few tabs that can be helpful. And they look like this. I think we have a close-up. There we go. So there's the home button, which will always take you back to that original, the original home page. And the projects tab will let you look at any projects that you are currently working on. And COMET-Farm does allow you to have more than one project simultaneously. So you would find any projects that you have under that projects tab. The resources tab is really good. It has links to documentation, trainings. There are training videos. There are calendars that allow you to find training resources. And there's also some details like various versions of COMET-Farm and terms and conditions in case you want to refer back to some of that stuff. And Lacey's going to talk a little bit more about resources here in just a minute. So we'll dive into that a little deeper here in just a minute. The other tools section has some of the other COMET assets, such as COMET Planner, COMET Energy, and API Access. Those are slightly different tools. We're kind of encouraging folks to use COMET-Farm because it seems to be the most appropriate for most of the producers in this program. You're certainly welcome to dive into some of those other ones if you just really get excited about COMET-Farm and want to learn more about your carbon footprint. The sign-in page is this tab takes you to sign in if you or sign out. So you, like I said earlier, you can log in and log out, and it will save your information, any information that you put in as you're working on different projects. Don't forget to sign out. The tabs across the middle there have a few different things. The user guide is kind of on the main page there, and it talks about what COMET-Farm is about and who, what, when, where, and why of COMET. So if you are wondering why you're doing this, you can go back and review. Talks about how these calculations were made in general, and what the purpose of this tool is. The second tab there is methods and documentation, and it talks about some of the background for this background information about how this report is generated. So what methods they used, what documentation was used to create this program and make the calculations based on what you put into the program. The third tab is just about information safety, and explains how the data you input is utilized to generate this report. And then again, this is sort of along the same lines as the COMET-Farm versus COMET Planner thing. If you want to explore the different COMET tools, you can, this tab just shows you some information about how to decide which one to use. And like I said, we recommend that you start off with the COMET-Farm. It's seems to be the most appropriate for most of the folks in the program. All right. I think I've zipped through that web page, those two pages, and Lacey's going to tell us a little bit more about the resources that are available for diving a little bit deeper into this program.
Thanks. So last section before we get into all of the Q&A and helping you with any questions logging in that you might have. But there are a lot of resources that Maggie and Katie have already alluded to. So we want to help you kind of navigate the resources page so you can make the most of this COMET-Farm tool. So you would navigate back to the home page simply by clicking the home button, or you can go straight to that resources tab that Maggie mentioned is always up on the top right, and you'll see that there's an arrow, so there's a resources drop down there. And we're going to focus mostly on the documentations and the trainings. So for the documentation tab, you'll see first up is that blue book we keep mentioning. And that has, like we said, all of the calculations and the methods used. So if you're really interested in what methods are used to determine this, feel free to read. If you're having a hard time falling asleep at night, also an option. It's quite detailed and quite lengthy. So the next one is the user's guide, and Maggie also mentioned this user guide. This is helpful if you're getting used to the tool, and this is just the table of contents so you get an idea. It's really detailed and gives you an overview of how to use it and what all you can do with it. But getting into what I think is probably some of the most useful links we have are the training videos. And so these take you to their YouTube page, and it's like tutorials. So this is not with a live person like we are right now, but you can use them to watch as a refresher, They're by specific topic. So if you're struggling with something or you don't want to wait for their next live training, these are a great tool as a way to refresh, or to, if you're like me, sometimes I like to open up the video and do it step by step alongside with that video to help guide me through. So if you have some questions, then next thing up is the frequently asked questions page. It covers a lot of different scenarios that you might have questions about. But if it doesn't have an answer to the question that you are specifically wondering about, you can always submit a ticket for the help desk. That will put it into their system and get you some help. And there's also a need help widget that's been mentioned a couple times. So that's always available at the bottom. We have it highlighted there of what it looks like. So no matter what page you're navigating to, if you go to that need help, it will navigate you to frequently asked questions, or you can submit a ticket with just a simple click. Okay, so getting into a little bit more of those person-to-person resources, those live in-person, somebody talking to you like we're doing right now. These may be of interest because you can get information directly from COMET personnel. And so this training calendar will show you just that. It'll show you a calendar. They have trainings typically every Monday and Wednesday, and we'll get into the difference between those two trainings, but you can contact them at the email up top if there's a specific training that you want to request. Katie has found that they're pretty flexible in trying to provide those resources for us. And so you can always contact them right there at that email. So then getting into the trainings, please note that you will see the Monday trainings at 11 a.m. and the Wednesday trainings at 12 p.m. These are in Mountain Time. We mentioned that this is done in partnership with Colorado State. So all of these times are in Mountain Time. So just keep that in mind when you write it down for yourself. Another place that you can find this training page is directly under resources. There's a tab that'll take you straight to it under resources, so you can navigate there even quicker. Okay, so the Monday training sessions, the difference in Monday and Wednesday. Monday training sessions are office hours. So this is not a formal demonstration training, but you can ask questions live and in person. So when it comes to that Mountain Time, now that we've clicked on it, you'll see that it says 11 a.m. to noon on Mountain Standard Time. Most of us here are functioning off of Eastern Standard Time. But when you click on that Add Copy to My Calendar button down at the bottom right, if you copy it to your computer calendar, typically your computer will automatically shift that into whatever time zone you're in. So that's a helpful trick. Or if you're like me and want to write it down on paper, just remember that we need to convert to Eastern Standard Time. And they do request that you register in advance. So you can also see that register in advance link above the copy to my calendar, just so they know that somebody's going to come, so we can make the best of your time and their time. The other type of training that they regularly hold is a more formal training. It's an hour-long training, and these are typically the Wednesday trainings. We're not really getting into the details of how to use COMET-Farm today. The actual programming, we're just giving you a layout of the website, how to get registered. This is like a sneak peek, whereas they host actual trainings. So you can see that you can attend this training tonight and hop on their formal training tomorrow. So that's fun. Tomorrow's training, I actually checked the calendar today. The specific demonstration done is a livestock example. So learning how to use the tool is a great resource for all of our farmers. But if you want to specifically see a livestock training, maybe you're on the forage and beef group, tomorrow at noon, which for us would be 2 o'clock, would be a great opportunity for you. And so yeah, those are all of the trainings. They are super helpful. And lastly, we're going to be sending this PowerPoint out afterwards, as Katie already mentioned. So we just wanted to provide a lot of quick links for you to these sub pages that we find to be particularly helpful. So this is most of what we talked about tonight with a direct link if you need help finding it again. But another resource that we want to make sure to highlight for you, this is one that I've been playing with a lot and have found pretty helpful, is under this projects tab. So back up at that top right toolbar, under that projects tab, you can click this and find demo projects. So maybe you're not really sure if you're really interested in this or if you're just being super nice to us and making an account. You can start to see what it does. So you do have to log in for this. After you log in, you can click on that project tab and then you'll click on demo project. And so this demo project lets you have a little bit of a sneak peek before you commit, because it is a little tedious to put all of your information in, particularly for the leafy greens farmers that I work with who are growing multiple crops every year. So before you take the time to put all of your information in, maybe you want to see what it's going to do for you. So you'll click, once you're on that demo project page, you can select what type of demonstration you are interested in seeing. So most of us here are going to be using either cropland, pasture, rangeland, vineyards, or we're going to be using the animal agriculture option. So in this case, we clicked on cropland, and then you will click that create demo project. And so this is what it starts off looking like is this shows you the field location. So when you are doing a demo, it gives you an example one. When you're doing your own, this would be your field. And then on top of that, you can see this toolbar kind of flow chart that Katie showed earlier. And this is what it takes you through the flow of what you're going to see using this COMET-Farm tool. So you're going to start with your project and then your field location. And then after field location, we're going to go into field management. And this would be what we referred to as your business as usual. So it's whatever practices, whatever management you're currently doing on your farm, would be this field management. So that's your starting point, kind of like the baseline. And then your scenario management, which is what you want to test or experiment with, or a practice you're considering, maybe the practices you're doing now that you're in the Climate Smart project with us. And then it's going to generate with that information a report for you. So that's the last step. So it'll use all of those methods in the Blue Book, and you'll get a report generated showing you what would happen if you did these practices. So essentially, because it's a demonstration project, everything is pre-filled for you. It gives you a example field, it tells you what their current management is, and then it tells you what these scenario options are. So you could use this when you start building your own. You would put your own field in, and maybe you've been doing reduced tillage as part of this Climate Smart program, but you're really interested in what would the difference be if you went completely no-till. Or maybe you're currently doing, in leafy greens case, maybe you're in cover crop and reduced tillage, but you are wondering what would happen if you also add mulching. So it will give you an output. The units reported are in metric tons of carbon dioxide equivalents per year. So a sneak preview, what they show you in the demonstration for cropland, they're saving between 25 and 30 metric tons of carbon dioxide per year. So it gives you the per year per field output. So you can even do it with different fields. So it's a pretty cool tool, and you can go through this demonstration to get an idea of really what it's going to ask you for and what it's going to look like to decide before you start putting all of your own information in. So for example, when I was playing with this before this training, one of the things I noticed is you put in each crop you grow in a year. So for my horticulture people on this, perhaps you would want to start with just a couple crops before you start trying to import. It gets a little tedious putting each and every crop you might grow in a year. So maybe you just pick out a couple highlights. Or if you're in our peanut system, maybe you go through each year and you put years that you grew corn and then years that you had peanuts on those rotations. So the tool gives you a lot to work from, and this is really just a little bit of a snippet of what to look forward to, but their training tools give you a lot to work from. So I think that's all we have. Open it up for questions.
Thank you, Lacey, Maggie, and Katie. We will stick around. Does anyone have any questions about the presentation that you just listened to? Because we've got plenty of time. Thanks, Katie. So Katie just pulled the registration page slide back up. And if there's anyone who is on the call now who wants to go ahead and just navigate over to the website, we can put that in the chat. And you can click on that and go ahead and register for your account. If you do register this evening, as Maggie mentioned, what's going to happen is you'll go through that little form and then you'll click submit, and you'll get an email that's a confirmation that Climate Smart, I'm sorry, that COMET-Farm, not Climate Smart, received your information. So if you could forward that email to, and I think Katie's putting both the website and the email that to send your confirmation confirmation to, then we will notate that on your account and we won't bug you anymore.
I got a question.
Yeah.
Is there a deadline to have to register for the COMET program, or is it actually going to be fully required at the end of this by chance? Or can you elaborate on that?
No, we do not have I mean, our goal is to get everyone registered with an account. It takes just a couple minutes. Thank you for your participation. And we will not require you so if this isn't interesting or not even, not worth it to you, it's fine. We would like to report back as one of our deliverables for the grant. When it was written, we had said we're going to try to get our farmers registered. So if you want to kind of throw us a bone and go ahead and register and then never navigate to the site again, that would also be great. But it's up to you, Travis. If you,
Okay.
yeah. So
I just wanted to ask a question just in case.
Yeah. Yeah. No, this will not impact your enrollment or your incentive payments or anything.
Understood. Thank you.
Yep. You're welcome.
We also recorded this session. This is our last planned training and the most polished one. So we'll be making this training available as well if you want to watch it all again.
Thanks, Jesse.
Thanks to you all who are already forwarding these things along. I just got a message from somebody who's working on it. So thank you.
Okay, great. And I see already we have one account. The subject line will say account confirmation when you actually register. And we do have one person who has already forwarded theirs to us. So thank you for that. We're also happy to answer to the best of our ability any questions you might have about the platform as well, or anything else program related.
Yeah, thank you all for hopping on with us tonight. So please, we are here for the rest of the time to be a resource. If you have questions, we're happy to help.
Received, Maggie. Thank you.
I'm going to put in a 2-second plug for some trainings that we have coming up. If you're a beef cattle producer, I just sent you an email today about 4 different trainings we have coming up in the near future. So check your email or reach out to me and I can tell you about them. But we've got some coming up in March and April that should be really good. Some on-farm trainings and more to come in this summer. We're going to have some farmer town halls and there's lots of stuff coming up in the next few months.
While we're plugging programs, this time of year, a lot of our horticulture team has their vegetable production meetings. So not climate smart specific, but there are a lot of great trainings going on as we get gearing up for spring and summer horticulture crops. So I know that next week the PD one in Florence will be happening. It was really well attended and a great event last year. And then the Midlands will be following up after that. So be on the lookout if you would like to attend and don't know when your region is. Please reach out and I'm happy to get you in contact with those. And then all the town halls coming up and other fun things like Maggie mentioned.
Maggie, would you forward that email to me that you sent out? So I have that training information.
We will be sharing this presentation. The recording will be available on our website or YouTube, but we'll also be emailing out the actual slides, like the file that the presentation is on.
Okay, so I'm wondering who that's still on the call is actively working towards registering. What do you think, Katie?
I think if there's anyone that is not working on this right now, you're free to go. And then maybe we can get an idea if there's anyone still around and if they have any questions. But if y'all don't have any questions and you're not working on it right now, you don't have to do this immediately. You're free to enjoy the rest of your evening. thank you guys for coming out.